unconstitutional bill by the legislature. I wanted to get your take on that, whether you thought it was a civil rights decision, and what you think the role of the Iowa Supreme Court is as far as interpreting the constitutionality of laws.
Well, there was a lot that was thrown out here a little while ago by the two former Supreme Court justices, and I do respect them a great deal. But I'm reminded as a former educator to think sometimes we get so confused by our own intellect that we no longer understand what the Constitution really says. The Constitution was written in very simple language so all of us could understand it. It was written towards an 8th grade level. But we like to get so confused. So either we made 161 years of really bad mistakes, or this court just is supreme. These 7 have, unlimited and all-knowing power, and that they should move. But I want to address a couple things. First of all, where Mr. Albee says this should not be about politics, I couldn't agree more. This should not be about politics. But I believe this Supreme Court inserted politics on steroids in this opinion and usurping the obvious will of the people. Constitutional lawyers taking a look at this particular opinion say it might be the worst opinion they've ever read by an activist court and activist judge. These are constitutional lawyers who have no dog in this hunt whatsoever. So one is, it should not be about politics. I agree. And that court should be fair and impartial, Mr. Albee said, and I believe Mr. McCormick said they should be independent. I couldn't agree more. However, they should not be independent to make law, to execute law, or to amend the Constitution. That is not their role, and God help us if it ever becomes their role. That is not their role. Article 12.1, which Mr. Albee referred to, he said, the court has the ability to void legislation it deems unconstitutional. But it's just as if the writers of the Constitution almost figured out what an activist court one date might think. They also wrote a sentence in there right after that and said, by the way, the legislature shall enact all legislation to carry out this Constitution. Meaning, go ahead and void it if that's really what you think you should do, but now you either revert back to prior law, 161 years of one man, one woman marriage, or you throw it back to the legislature to codify it in same-sex marriage law, or for the legislature to throw it to the people to amend the Constitution, like 31 other states have done. They didn't do that. Both of them remarked that this is about courage. This court was courageous. My word wasn't this court was courageous, this court was activist. This court decided that it knew law. Matter of fact, when I held the press conference to say that I was going to point my attention and my resources and my network on ousting these 3 Supreme Court justices, one former Supreme Court justice quoted us as saying, these people. The Constitution is about these people. Don't understand middle school civics. Middle school civics. I got a master's and specialist degree in educational leadership. I was an educator, I was an administrator. I understand who makes law, I understand who executes law, and I understand who amends the Constitution, and it is not the court. So this is a real, matter of fact, somebody asked me on WHO radio the other day, they said, Bob, what does victory look like for Iowa for freedom? I said, victory is already what we're experiencing right here at Simpson College. We're having a debate on who makes the law, who executes the law, who amends the Constitution, what's the voice of the people, what's the voice of the courts, and where should it be in place? And if this is about discrimination, civil rights, why stop there? Why stop granting it to same-sex couples? How about if I want to marry my son? How about if I want to marry 3 other women? How about if I want to marry a guy and a woman? If that's my interpretation of what I want to do, why stop there? So to me, if you void it, you have to throw it back to the legislature who makes the law. And then the governor executes. The fact is, there is no law in the books. There's no executed law. And we're marrying people. And their best answer is this. I want you to get this. Their best answer is this. If the court made a mistake, don't throw the judges off. the people of Iowa should amend the Constitution 4 years down the road after you're doing same-sex marriages without a law. 4 years down the road, that's what should have happened immediately. Throw it to the people of Iowa. So these courts, these justices became activists by nature. They made law, they governed law, they amended the Constitution. They're still about intimidating. That our goal is to intimidate the court. Absolutely not. Remember, I got asked on Iowa Press, said, you know, Bob, so would you only appoint Supreme Court justices that agreed with you? I said, no, they don't have to agree with Bob Vander Plaats. They just have to agree with the Constitution. They have to stay within the boundaries of the Constitution. This isn't about the mob, this is about we the people. I'm not here to discuss process today, because that's what they wanted to say. They wanted to talk about process, the courts are going to be in jeopardy, all that stuff. Fully understand this, regardless of what Federalist paper you read or what Constitution you read. This is what's clear. The court is completely dependent, by design, for funding by the legislature for their very existence. For a legislature to put into law their opinions, and for a governor or for an executive branch who will execute. They're fully dependent on the legislative branch and the executive branch. And the final arbitrator of all matters is we, the people. That's why I think we're going to be successful on November 2.
Just to clarify.